So this is the vocabulary for our new unit, latitude and longitude. The first word is hemisphere, which is not a new word for us. Hemisphere means half of the earth. Hemi, half, sphere, round like the earth. Hemisphere is important for latitude and longitude because when you are doing latitude, any lines of latitude above the equator will be north, and any lines of latitude below the equator will be south. So that is our dividing line. Latitude lines are the horizontal lines that measure distance north and south of the equator. So our starting line is the equator. Latitude lines tell us how far from the equator we are. So if we're up here, it tells us we're 30 degrees north. If we're down here, it tells us we're 70 degrees south of the equator. So it just tells us how far from this line we have traveled. Longitude is the opposite. They are the vertical lines that measure distance east and west of the prime meridian. Our starting line for longitude is the prime meridian. It's our 0 right here. Unlike latitude, which only went to 90, longitude goes all the way to 360. So you will go 180 degrees east and you will go 180 degrees west. So 180 plus 180 equals 360. They measure east and west of the prime meridian. So it tells me if I'm over here that I'm 80 degrees east of the prime meridian. If I'm over here, I'm 70 degrees west of the prime meridian. So no matter where I am, it's east and west. The prime meridian is our starting line for longitude. It goes from the North Pole to the South Pole at 0 degrees longitude. This is where we started measuring our east and our west. The Tropic of Cancer is a line of latitude. It is above the equator a little bit at 23.5 degrees north. Yes, it is a half, so it's kind of weird, but that's what it is. So Tropic of Cancer, above the equator, 23.5 degrees north. Tropic of Capricorn is the opposite. It's at 23.5 degrees south. So here's the equator. It's below the equator. Again, 23.5 degrees south. Our equator is our middle line. So it's around the imaginary line at the center of the earth. And this is the widest place on earth. So this is where it's 25,000 miles all the way around. It's our starting line for latitude. So this is the 0. If I'm up here, it tells me how many degrees north I am. If I'm down here, latitude would tell me how many degrees south I am. Antarctic Circle is down by Antarctica. It is at 66.33 degrees south. And this is how the Earth is tilted. The Earth does not stand straight up and down. It's tilted on an axis. The Antarctic Circle is at the bottom, 66.33 degrees south. The Arctic Circle is opposite of that. It's at the top by the Arctic Ocean. It's at 66.33 degrees north. So by the North Pole, we would find the Arctic Circle. When we write latitude and longitude, we use two numbers, and those numbers are called coordinates. When writing our coordinates, the north and south always come first. So if I'm writing 77 degrees south, 44 west, it would be my south first. But this is my address for latitude and longitude. It tells me exactly where something is on Earth.